In this video, I want to show you real fast how we can edit some simple shapes. Previously, we've talked about how we can create simple shapes and incorporate them into our drawings and our animations, but it's really important that we start taking a look, a deep dive, if you will, at how we can edit those simple shapes, because there's some power features in there that I think are really going to be helpful in the creation and cultivation of all of our animations. Of course, I'm over here inside of Blender, and as you can see, just working with a kind of a blank environment here real fast. Now, our draw tool is quite good. However, if we go into our toolbar, way over here on the left-hand side of the screen, I'm going to create just a little simple circle. Now, there's a number of things that we got to make sure that we look at, and the first thing is making a perfect circle. Okay. Now, if you hold down the Shift key while you drag out your circle, it's going to constrain the proportions. Let me do that again. I want to increase the strengths, make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. There we go. Hold down the Shift key, and now we're going to make a perfect circle. When we're done dragging out the shape, as a reminder, you get these little yellow dots. I know they're difficult to see on the video because they are quite faint, but look for them on your computer monitor. And then when you're happy with the size and proportion of this circle, make sure you're hitting the return key to confirm the creation of that shape, and then you can move on. You're not going to be allowed to go on inside of your sequence until you hit that return key and kind of accept the parameters of the circle creation step. Okay, now with that done, let's look at how we can start to edit this shape, because this is really where the power of the drawing engine inside of Blender comes to the surface, is that all of these strokes are still live. That means we can change them after we create them. This is not like a raster-based program like Photoshop, where once you put down a stroke, you're kind of committed to it. We can change ours, which is pretty neat. Now, with all things inside of Blender, the moment we want to start changing or editing anything, we have to make sure that we're in the edit mode. Now, I'm in the upper left-hand corner of my interface here, and there's a small little pull-down menu that will allow me to change and jump into edit mode. And with edit mode established, we can very quickly start to change how our circle is being displayed on the screen itself. It's faint, and I know, and I apologize for that, but I'm in the stroke selection set, which is right here inside of my three little buttons, okay? The stroke selection set, and then I can just click on that stroke. And with that stroke selected, of course, I can grab it using the G key, left click to confirm. I can rotate it, but it's a sphere, so we're not going to see anything. I can also hit the S key to scale it up or stretch it up and down, left click to confirm. And now we're ready to start working with changing the fundamental shape of it. The G for position, R for rotation, and then S for scale allow us to uniformly change the overall stroke itself. It's not going to change the actual stroke shape. It's just going to keep its proportion. So let's go in and start changing the stroke shape. And this is where it gets to be a lot of fun. Previously, we talked about changing our selection state in edit mode. Of course, we have this dot selection mode. It's the first one up, and that will allow us to go in and select just a simple little box here. We can make grab some dots on the circle, and we're up and running. Now, maybe we don't want to grab just individual points. Maybe we want to edit the shape a little bit more holistically. And there's a really cool function in here that I want to make sure that everyone sees. I'm going to start off by selecting the entire stroke. I've changed my selection state to the stroke selection state, so I've grabbed the entire stroke. And now we're going to jump down to this option right here called Curve Editing. And we're going to turn it on by clicking this little button right in this first row. You can see exactly what the computer does. It adds these Bezier handles in here, which are very neat. These Bezier handles, when we're in the point selection mode, will allow us to select the handle itself, and now we can grab that shape and begin to transform it. So these handles are really made up of three major components. Let me grab this one over here. You can see that there's a center knot on the inside, that little dot. If we were to grab that, select it and grab it, you can see that the entire handle moves. The two little wings on either side, the paddles, if you will, they don't change their angle. They don't change their slope. If we wanted to change the angle and slope of those handles, we need to select this outside dot, and then once again activate the grab tool. And now we're changing the slope. We can make the handle smaller, we can make it bigger, we can change the slope on either side, just by grabbing it and changing it around, something like that. Now, when you're working with these curves in curve editing mode, you may want to deactivate this function at the conclusion of your editing. It gets a little bit easier, and at times, having this curve editing feature on all the time can proved to be a little bit of a headache. At the end of our sequence here, you can see that the computer's gone ahead and redrawn this entire curve to incorporate more dots. There's actually logarithmically more dots in here now than there were before, and that's okay, because we could always go back into our curve editing mode. Let me just select the curve, there we go, and get all of these handles. At times, the computer's going to go in and automatically add these handles, these little Bezier handles, around the curve. So we may get some Bezier handles that we're not really into, that we don't need, or maybe are getting in the way. Let me show you how we can delete one of these Bezier handles so that we can, let me go back into point mode. Here we go. So that we can work a little bit more directly with our shape and be able to control it a little bit more. Because I find sometimes that it adds a handle that I don't want. Maybe on this shape, I just want 2 handles to make a real nice, long, thin oval. So with the handle selected, of course, we're going to hit the X key. Now the X key on our keyboard is our global keyboard shortcut for Blender for deleting things. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to hit the X key. You're going to get this little popover. Now, if you were just to click on the delete points, you can see what it does. It deletes all the points that were connected to that handle. That's not what we want. We want to remove just the handle itself. So let me hit undo. We're going to do it one more time. This time, we're going to do dissolve. And now you can see what happens. It doesn't delete all the points that were connected with that Bezier handle. It just deletes the handle and that handle's influence on our final shape. With that in tow, of course, naturally, we can continue working on our shape and customizing our little sphere however we want. I find that these shapes inside of Blender are a really great addition to our workflow. Remember this dissolve function. Being able to go in and remove a handle is really going to help because it's not going to delete the points. It's just going to dissolve and remove the influence of that handle when in the curve editing mode. So get comfortable creating shapes and then editing them. We have a whole series of wonderful simple shapes that all follow the same process of editing. We're going to be using these often inside of this class to create these wonderful sweeping arcs and curves in all of our animations.